Welcome to the next in the series of Monetization Matters. My name's Adrian Pearce, Business Value Consultant at Thales Software Monetization. Hopefully you'll enjoy today's conversation. I'm going to be talking to Amish Patel from Forescout, one of our customers. Today we're talking to Amish Patel from Forescout. Forescout have been a customer of ours, I think, since 2016, but I'll let Amish introduce himself.
Hello, my name is Amish Patel. I'm the Senior Manager for Operations and Licensing Programs at Forescout Technologies. I've been at Forescout now for roughly 5 years, and through that 5 years, really kind of evolved the position that I've been in, taking the licensing and also incorporating the full operations organization into my leadership.
Cool. So, what's Forescout? What's the business of Forescout? Just as an overview, great to understand that.
Forescout is a cybersecurity company that specializes in visibility and control for network devices. Our core is discovery, classification, and monitoring across both IT and OT environments. So what we do is we identify the threats, enforce compliance policies, and automate the response to all those security incidents. Our industries range from healthcare, government, and finance. Obviously, we also dabble in other things like the operational side, which is like windmills, power companies, grids, all that stuff.
So interesting kind of spread and the large market to address, an exciting market to address. So in our kind of introduction, I really latched onto a word you said when we were talking, and really you classed yourself as an enthusiast from a software monetization perspective. Great to dig down into that for a moment, if that's okay with you.
So I never thought, as my career started about 20 years ago, that I would be talking to you today about licensing, enforcement, software monetization. It was just not something that I even had considered as part of my career path. But about 15 years ago, when I came to a startup here in Silicon Valley, there was a gap in entitlements and delivering the entitlement. So we had a homegrown solution that the engineering team had designed to basically give the customer an entitlement key and apply it and get their software going. As the company grew, that homegrown solution kind of became very simplistic or too simplistic for our selling motions. And there was really no one paying attention to it. And since I was the only one really in charge of delivering that to the customer, started to realize that we might have an issue here. So I started to dabble in the world of monetization and how do you use entitlements and licensing to really drive business and business decisions. So
I really kind of latch onto your kind of experience here because it's similar to mine, right? I never intended to end up in this particular field, and you kind of find yourself owning it for whatever reason in an organization, and you become an expert. There's very few of us that kind of are experts or enthusiasts on this topic. So
and I guess
it's great to find another one.
Right? The hard part is it's not me becoming the enthusiast, because I like to engulf myself in challenges and things that people don't want, right? So that was the easy part. The hard part is having anyone listen to you about your enthusiasm about licensing and entitlements. Because I was excited about it, it was hard to convey the importance of it, why I was excited about it, why we should be focusing on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that leads us on to the challenges, right? I mean, one of the challenges I think we unearthed in our previous conversation was really how to get people to focus on this topic in an organization. And that's a common thing I see in all the different customers and prospects I'm talking to. So it'd be great to hear about that from a Forescout perspective.
Yeah, so I joined Forescout right when the project was pretty much ending. But what I can tell you about it is that the reason why the project even started was, once again, Forescout had a homegrown licensing solution, and it was designed early on where the business model was entitling an entire box and not a software solution.
Right.
And they were moving towards a selling motion where they were allowing flexibility for our customers. And that was the key, is when you start getting into flexibility and allowing the customer choose what they do with their entitlements and licensing, that's where the conversation kind of started. Um, Now, of course, the first thing that leadership is going to say is, well, what is it going to cost to continue to develop what we already have,
Yeah.
and just try to modify our existing licensing software and servers. So that's where the real challenges started, is convincing, hey, maybe we should look at an off-the-shelf solution that
Right.
specializes in this type of licensing mechanism. And you know, I think that the biggest eye opener for leadership was, it's not cheap. And it does take a significant amount of resources up front.
Yeah.
But the the compelling thing is the long term. The long term benefit of going to a company like Thales is basically, you don't have to have the internal resources dedicated to the changes that you're going to be making throughout your journey. Your selling motions may change, your product may change,
Yeah.
um, the whole solution might change, and having that adaptability that doesn't rely on our internal resources is huge for an
Yeah.
overall
Yeah.
cost.
We hear a lot of organizations talk about, allowing us to focus on our core as well, right?
Yeah, right now, most companies that have a homegrown solution, they usually have a few engineers, maybe one or two. In a company our size, we have only had one a real expert engineer that was focused on it. But that engineer was also focused on our core stuff too. So if there was a issue with the core product and an
Yeah.
issue with the licensing, the core product is obviously going to get the resources. So yeah, this allowed Forescout to go back to what they were really, their core, and it's focusing on our software.
So we've talked a little bit about the challenges that both you and Forescout have had around kind of moving from homegrown to more of a off-the-shelf commercial approach to this. So I mean, one part is to kind of checkbox those challenges, but then there's also the potential opportunities that a platform like ours brings. And I think you're looking at the moment at the potential, the data that sits in EMS and what that can bring to you as an organization.
That's correct. Yeah. So we're at the point now where, we've transitioned off, obviously, the homegrown solution. That
Yeah,
transition takes a while, right?
yeah,
It's not something that it took over time, but now we are fully transitioned over. And so now we have all this data that's available in the solution. And we started off with doing very simple data pulls, and it was simply going, oh, let's take a look at our install base. How many licenses were generated during this time period, and for how many endpoints were those generated for? And I started sharing that information out a little bit to a few
right.
people within the organization, and people started going, "Oh, this is really interesting. This is stuff that we didn't know existed." And so now, fast forward to about 5 years in, right? And what product management really was really blown away with was how we can really see through the data our customer behavior.
Right.
And I think that was something that a lot of people didn't realize, is that customer behavior actually starts with licensing.
Right.
You buy it. How long did it take you to put that license in? Are you using the entire license? When did you start using the entire license? All these little data points about that license became very important to us because that's really showing us is our product being adopted into environments.
I mean, as that develops, are you finding that, the initial interest maybe was product management, right, to understand how products are being used? But certainly now, would you expect, even sales teams to want to look at that and specifically drill down into customer related or customer
Yeah.
specific data?
So initially it started with product management to understand what products are being used, what products are not being used, what's the utilization of some of the stuff, right? That then grew into let's dive deeper into the customer level and understand when a customer buys something,
Yeah.
how are they using it, right? What are they using? How are they using it? Which is now being able to drive, our account team to kind of go, hey, make that phone call sometimes, like going, hey, you bought this 6 months ago. You haven't activated a license yet. What's
Yeah.
going on? Can we
Yeah.
help you? Right? And it really opens the door for that engagement and to really understand, hey, do you need help to implement the product? We have found that when our product is deployed and implemented, we're looking at a high 90% renewal rate.
Right.
When it's not implemented within a certain period of time, you see the churn. So it's really important for us to make sure that our customers are activating our software.
Yeah. So your product's super sticky
Yeah.
in that respect. So, but having that knowledge, maybe, sometimes people say, oh, it means we haven't got the right product or we haven't got the right features. But for me, part of the kind of reaction might be maybe customers aren't trained or they aren't aware of particular aspects of the product.
Back before I became on the vendor side, I was more on the client side. I was a
Yeah.
network engineer, okay?
Yeah.
And one of the things that, I can tell you from that experience was you buy a lot of equipment, and sometimes you buy it because you have to buy it, because you have budget and you want to buy it. And then sometimes you buy something that you thought, okay, I'm gonna install this, but there's complexities in
Yeah.
in installing solutions, right? And sometimes that deters you from actually fully implementing anything, especially as a network guy. You don't want to cause any problems, so you might just let it sit. Um, so for me, if you got that help, if you got that extra push from somebody to go, hey, let's I know it's a little bit overwhelming, but here's how we can get started. And once you get started, that's usually when we see solution kind of develop into a fully developed or fully deployed with our customers.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, it's another stream of data, right? To add to maybe the anecdotal or the support data that maybe you have
Yep.
today. Um, I think also you've looked at kind of the Salesforce integration that we've had through our Sentinel Pulse. Um, what's been the reaction to that, having that kind of data available to maybe the account team?
Yeah, so look, at the end of the day, today, what I'm doing is I'm pulling reports and just sending CSV files or Excel files, right? And occasionally we'll pivot tables and are great, Tableau is great, and all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But the one thing about our sales team is that they live in Salesforce, and when you are asked to leave an application, go somewhere else to
Yeah.
find information, you're less likely to use it. We have a few power users that are willing to do it, but general the general team, they like to be in Salesforce. So when we started looking at Pulse, it was compelling because it was right there. It was right at the account level. It
Yeah.
was inside Salesforce, and it was easily accessible for the sales team. So we are excited to start socializing and looking at and asking our sales team really, to help us design a solution with you guys that really makes sense for them.
Yeah.
And I think it's the biggest win for us is it's within Salesforce, and it's visual. I think it's visual. There's a lot of other features as far as alerts, at the account level, which is going to be helpful. But yeah, just having it in Salesforce is key.
So who would have thought we'd moved from license enforcement through to data that helps the sales guys with the account management or the success of their account?
And I think that you're helping me because the more we're talking about licensing and how
Yeah.
we're getting that, the better it is for me to sell it inside the company, right? So I think that also helps just the whole story around licensing at this company and
Yeah.
understanding and kind of showing how important it is from a product security standpoint and from a data level. It's huge. So yeah.
And we've kind of gone full circle now to kind of the top of the show kind of challenge, right? How do you get people to focus on this topic? So having these different things to talk about sounds like it's helping you. Number one, get airtime in your organization, but kind of I'm guessing also maybe the support and maybe budget that you need to get these things done, right?
Yep. I think that the data project is really going to be the one that highlights the importance of the solution and what we
Yeah,
do with it, because there's going to be tangible return. And, being able to see how that data helps us upsell, cross-sell, get our product deployed.
yeah.
Those are tangible metrics that we'll have.
No, that sounds good. So, I mean, it sounds like the data gen is kind of the next chapter of this exercise. But is there anything else from the software monetization front that you see us helping with in the near or medium term?
Yeah, so like I said, there are two different aspects now, right? We have the data element, but we still have the core solution, right? And like I said, that journey it keeps on going. And as our product lines change, we're moving a lot more into cloud,
Right.
and hybrid solutions where it's a bit of cloud, it's a bit of on-prem. So those types of products and solutions are going to need more different licensing capabilities. We're still using a traditional, here's a key, enter the key methodology. We
Right.
see ourselves going more towards a cloud, generated licensing model. So yeah, I see us definitely evolving our licensing further within the next, I'd say, year or two.
So even though it's been a 5-year journey so far, there's still a fair part of the journey to go, right?
I look at it in this sense. Our company, 5 years is probably right around the time where you're going to start seeing product changes, industry changes on how things behave,
Yeah.
right? So, the way I look at it is probably 5 years. Every 5 years, we would probably be looking at something different, if not even sooner. But yeah,
So
all good.
once again, thanks for your time
Yep.
today. It's been great.
Thank you. All right.
See
Take
you
care.
later. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.